All right, so we left it off where we finished most of the structural pieces for the head, but while we were doing this, we realized that there was a lot of major problems and we're gonna have to address them now, and we're not looking forward to this at all.
That's right. Just when everything was going so right, everything around us seemed to be wrong. Every bulkhead surrounding our sailboat's head needs to be fixed, and that's what we're tackling this week. This is Luke, and I'm Lori, and we're not backing down from this boat building challenge thanks to our Patreons and viewers like you. And if you want to cheer us on, subscribe to our channel, like this video, and ring that bell. It's a totally free way to keep the journey alive.
So while we were installing all of the furniture, we realized really quickly that this bulkhead and this bulkhead are not plumbed. And because of that, we've been having a really hard time. See, we actually cut some gaps here because we knew we were going to redo this bulkhead and move it a little bit out, so we already have those gaps there. But now has come the moment where we actually have to rip everything that we did out now and these bulkheads to fix it. Now all three of these have to be fixed. The back one, not only is it not plumbed, but it has a split in the middle that goes right where we're going to put this little niche. So we're going to have to move this split. We're going to have to redo this one. This one is the door, so we're actually going to make it a little thicker and a little stronger. And then this one as well is not right. So we're going to have to address this. Don't know if we're going to replace this or just fix it. This one we're just going to reinforce and extend, and this one I think we're going to have to recut. Let's do it.
As you may recall, the head was the first section in our boat interior build that was roughly and quickly added before the guys decided to move to other parts, leaving it incomplete. This decision was primarily due to the head being the most intricate section in our boat build's interior, given the challenging angles of the hull and the concentration of various components in this tight space. We didn't want to get stuck too long building this one section, so we skipped it. Consequently, it remained neglected for an extended period of time. When we made the commitment to revisit and rectify the situation ourselves, we were uncertain about the readiness of various parts. We kicked off with great enthusiasm and focusing on repairing the toilet and the sink in our new wet and dry area, as showcased in last week's episode in case you missed it. Initially, we assumed that the adjacent partitions were primed for construction. However, this assumption turned out to be a significant misstep, one that we will not be making again anytime soon.
All right, it's been a long time since we've opened this up, and you can see the amount of space that we have back here, and this is gonna house a lot of things. We're gonna have our boiler here, our black water tank, and also our sewage treatment center, and also we're gonna have a little niche here cutting into it as well that's going to have our toilet paper and our trash cans. So plenty of space for all that, but we need to have access to it, and that is why we're going to cut a large inspection hatch here to be able to get there. It's going to be pretty much screwed shut with a seal on it, so it's not going to be accessed a lot, but it is going to be available when we want to do maintenance in this area. Now I'm going to remove this so we can cut an inspection hatch here, and also we're going to cut a little hole here so I can create a box that is going to house a hose that we can use through here for fresh water, showering, or cleaning of anything in the cockpit.
While Luke worked diligently on cutting the bulkheads, I undertook the planning for our wet locker. As you can see, the locker boasts a considerable size, particularly for a 34-foot boat. It will offer access through a watertight hatch in the port side cockpit seating area, as well as via a door leading into the head. This locker is designed for storing wet boots, jackets, or gear that require a good rinse with fresh water, preventing us from tracking any grime into our living space. To ensure that the stern remains impervious to water and moisture, we're planning to fiberglass the entire locker. Additionally, we'll establish a drain connected to the shower basin, utilizing the same pump as the shower itself to remove any infiltrated water. Now, I must admit, shaping this locker presented quite a challenge. Nothing in this endeavor was straightforward. Unsurprisingly, everything involved complex angles and an intrusive beam slicing through the upper portion of the sidewall. To get started, I retrieved my trusty scrap 6mm planks to serve as a template for my design. It soon became evident, though, that building from the top down wouldn't be the most effective approach. I needed to work from the sides up despite the cramped working space that it would entail. So our next step involved the installation of our forward-facing bulkhead. Now, our companionway has a maximum opening about 40 inches or 1 meter, meaning that anything entering the boat must fit within these dimensions or be disassembled. The bulkhead we had to create measured 45 inches or 115 centimeters. We had to cut it to make it fit. Initially, they had made a central cut, but this interfered with our future plans, so we opted to trim the edge this time, where repairs and additional structural support could be easily incorporated later.
Every time we say, oh, we're gonna do this real quick, it's gonna be super easy, it's not. It's never easy. It's never super easy. You should just remove that from your vocabulary if you're building a boat.
At this point, a critical realization hit us. To ensure the job would be done correctly, it became evident that we needed to address not only the lateral bulkhead, but also confront the issue of the staircase's width. This layer of complexity added an extra dimension to the challenge. The sides of the staircase had exceeded the width of the door, claiming valuable real estate inside of the boat. It became clear that resolving this issue had to be done first in order to complete the bulkhead construction. Luke took the stairs to the workshop and got to working on modifying the side supports. Adjusting the width, it turned out, was relatively straightforward, primarily involving slightly thinning the spacers on the inside. The width of the supports is rather decorative and not structural, as they will be ultimately attached directly to the bulkheads on either side.
Today has been one of the most difficult days, and I'm not sure why. Probably because we're working on these bulkheads. There's nothing glamorous about it, and there's just a lot of issues with aligning it and making sure that everything is fitting correctly, because this is our basis for everything else. If this is wrong, then it'll make it really difficult to get everything else in, as we have experienced so far. I think we're also feeling really, really tired. It's been just a week of trying to figure out how everything gets in, and it doesn't really look like we're making forward progress, though we are. All of the pieces are like a puzzle all over the place. I think there's going to be a moment where once we cut everything that we need to, then we just piece it back together. Until then, it just looks like a mess. And it feels like a little bit of a mess too. curved hinge. Aha! Now this is a little shaky because I haven't fastened it in. I gotta put in the wall and all this stuff, but we got a door. We got a door. A little shave off here too. Opa.
While I was perfecting my door installation techniques, Luke was at the table doing the unthinkable. He was undertaking a complete reconstruction of the sink. Yes, the very sink that we just fixed up and installed. The sink's original structure had been cut using the CNC machine, but over time it endured numerous modifications and was no longer holding up to the changes. To add to the challenge, last week we resized it again to fit our new design and attempted to salvage the components. But unfortunately, the wood bore countless dents, tears, and an array of holes. Our requirements were twofold. Not only did it need to be structurally robust, but it also had to be impeccably square to eventually accommodate the countertop. With determination, we decided to disassemble and reassemble it once more to ensure a solid foundation. Despite our journey of taking steps forward and occasionally backward, there is a newfound confidence coursing through us as we craft this furniture. We've had the privilege of being under the watchful eye of skilled carpenters here who generously offer guidance whenever needed, even assisting with some intricate cuts. But let me tell you the most valuable thing that we've learned so far in this epic head redo of a redo. A robust foundation is paramount, extending from the boat's bulkheads and sole down to the very leveling of the vessel itself. This sets the stage for a seamless future interior build when you're building from zero, eradicating doubts about whether a design will work or not, because precise measurements provide that assurance. Even in the face of numerous angles on a boat, a solid foundation serves as a reliable base from which we can discover the precise angles needed to complete the task at hand. Is it necessary? Absolutely not. But believe us when we say that life is easier when it's square. But now it's time to put those theories to the test. The moment when we had to reinstall everything inside the boat. Again. It was a nerve-wracking experience because we were fully aware that the odds of everything slotting back into place flawlessly were quite slim. We were prepared for some extensive adjustments. To determine the precise location for the sink, we aligned it with a door jamb and adjusted its level accordingly. Much to our satisfaction, the sink Luke meticulously crafted slid into place perfectly. Thanks to the now precisely plumb bulkheads, the measurements held true and only a few minor modifications were required to achieve that perfect fit. Unfortunately, we couldn't say the same for our door jamb, but we were braced for such challenges. The outward shift of the lateral bulkhead had created more space, impacting the door's dimensions as well. Consequently, we need to make further adjustments to ensure that our future door will align seamlessly with all the recent changes.
All right, that was way more time consuming than we thought it would. It took our whole week, but we successfully got in our 1, 2, 3, and 4 new bulkheads in, and they are super strong and sturdy. And since everything is plumb and square, it is way easier to get everything in and looking really, really nice. Unfortunately, we messing around with this did affect our door jamb, but we knew it would because we actually moved this bulkhead 3, maybe 4 centimeters even further out because we reduced the size of this width of the support for the stairs, which was really more decorative than structural. And it looks much nicer now, the staircase, and it gave us this huge amount inside. So it did mess with our door jamb, which we have to tackle all over again, but it was really worth it. And we also finished the door to our wet locker, and now we're going to tackle the inside, and we'll show you a lot of that soon, and our doors to our thing as well. But we haven't found any device yet for us to do the sliding door properly, so that's also on the table as well for next week for us to work on. So a lot of stuff going on, but I think it's looking pretty good. Let us know what you think so far of the results of our own DIY head build. Fixed everything. Everything is square. Everything's good. But this is the piece. It took us long enough to get this thing in here. This doesn't go right. I don't know what's gonna happen. All right. Pray to your God. No, but I think if we just stand a little bit right here, it'll be okay. All right, let's just do a little set. Take 2. Cut.